Mauro Ranallo, how are you?
Speaking of talking too fast, hello everyone.
Now, Mauro, you're some kind of broadcaster, is that
I've been known to say a few words over the years, maybe more than most people would have liked to have heard. But
one of the first times I became aware of you was a Mirko Cro Cop video. Where what exactly did they do where he kind of punked you?
Yeah, he did punk me. That was set up by the illustrious, legendary El Guapo Boss Rutan, who you may know as Rooker from the CBS sitcom Kevin Can Wait. That should have been renewed for a third season so my man could get paid, but that didn't happen. He's a fighter of note, one of the baddest men on the planet. And when I started working in Japan, he helped get me the gig. And Mirko Cro Cop, even now, even though he's out of Bellator 200, which I'm doing on Friday, was looking forward to his Bellator debut. Known for being a very stoic, silent killer type, and it was my first time meeting him, and I'd let Boss know that I'm nervous of the guy. I will interview him, but I'd rather you do it so I can get my feet wet. And he's like, no problem. So he ends up interviewing his opponent, the guy that I was supposed to interview, and I go and interview Mirko, and you see on the video what transpired. And that was my third show with the company. I thought, okay, well, this chapter in my life is over, and perhaps my life is over, because when you see him walk towards me at the end, I'm thinking Kaiser Sose and Usual Suspects, and where he's walking over me, and then boom, big head kick right to my face. Instead, he goes, it's a joke. So it's lived on for 14 years, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I still
you did
get
look
a lot of
really,
feedback.
really frightened.
No,
You looked
I was
legitimately frightened.
Yeah.
Like you didn't see it coming.
No, and there was a beeline to the hotel room to, I'm glad I was wearing dark pants. Let's just put it that way.
a change needed to happen? When you're doing all this stuff, because the documentary that is coming out on Showtime on Friday at 9 p.m.
Bipolar Rock and Roller.
Which is it's amazing. Like, I kind of knew your story, but the level to which you revealed in this thing is like off the charts. Like, it's as revealing as anybody, especially in your position, right? Because you're in this position of you're suffering from bipolar, but at the same time, you're as successful in broadcasting as you've ever been.
Yes.
You could easily use this moment to kind of push that aside a little bit, let the good times roll, and like, let me be there for my spots. And if I'm going crazy over here in a hotel room, don't worry about it. Don't look at me.
Sure.
Like, I'll see you at the next show. But instead, like, you kind of let us all see, it's not just a description of like what mania looks like, what a manic episode looks like what if I'm this high right now, what do the lows look like? Like, you see.
And that was the entire point, Sam.
You see the emotion.
Yes.
You see, like, you're just pouring.
Yep, and
out.
And Jim, not to you're a successful comedian. You're a successful broadcaster. What I'm saying, I believe the most successful people in this industry are touched by something. Like Robin Williams said, touched by madness, touched by fire. For me, it has been a constant struggle of trying to just. For me, work is therapy. And because of what you see, back up, the documentary had to be as revealing, as raw, as uncomfortable to watch, or else there would be no point to it. Hey, we all have a unique journey. We all had a dream as kids. Some of our dreams came true, but the point of this doc was we write about it, we talk about it sometimes, but no one, like you say, has made it as clear as we tried to do in this doc, what mental illness looks like. And it's the invisible illness. We're not in a wheelchair. I'm not on crutches. People have this, it's all about the stigma. Snap out of it. You're just lazy, or you're just looking for attention. Well, here you go. This is what it looks like. Am I looking for attention, or am I suffering human being at times?
Right.
And that's where I want to just make it okay to not be okay.
It's not just looking for attention, because there's times where, like, I deal with my own nonsense.
Sure.
We all do. But when you're dealing with it alone, like you're by yourself,
right,
and you're thinking like, life is good, I got to jump off the balcony.
Yeah.
It's crazy thinking.
Jim, alone in a crowd, I can be, and this is it, like this, Linus had his blanket, these headphones, this microphone, even though it's antithetical to what most people would say, because public speaking after death, the thing people are afraid of, or being on camera, this is my security blanket. And so for me, even the moment I take it off, and people milling about backstage, or people coming up, hey man, big fan, I'm immediately, oh my God, and there's this sense of jubilation because, wow, you get to call the biggest fights. And look at TakeOver New Orleans, man. One of the greatest events ever.
Yeah.
I should have been riding that high forever. Instead, not even moments later, I'm like, oh, God, I'm a fraud. Oh, shit, they're gonna fire me or all me people.
Me, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And
Which is especially,
that's why.
It's especially unbelievable because you go over like all the shots that you've gotten and the fact that even like you talk about TakeOver in WWE.
The last year's been ridiculous, my man. Klitschko and Joshua in front of 90,000 at Wembley. Mayweather, McGregor, second biggest pay-per-view ever. AJ Styles, John Cena, 2017 match of the year. They all so without the condition, without the illness, the career from literally growing up on a dead-end road in a farm in BF nowhere to doing all of this, it's bipolar in its own sense. Mm-hmm. And even now, I sense, look at me getting more excited, more rapid, more... It just happens.
Isn't it it's like and I've described it before. I don't know how to say it. It's like a chemical dump.
Yes.
Like it starts at the top of your head and you feel it like wash into your upper chest, and it can be comforting or it can be very painful.
Very well said, Jim.
But it's something that is, you can't describe what it is, but whether it's a sexual rush or it's a rush of depression, and then all of a sudden it becomes elation. Like it's almost like it's a warmth. It's menthol.
Do you have a camera in my? Did you surreptitiously put a camera in my life and been watching because you're describing it to a T?
Well, if you have a toilet, I'd put a camera
there. But honest, how well said is that? And you just said it's hard to describe. And for us who talk for a living and do it quite well, I would imagine, that's why it had to be visceral. It had to be visual. I remember Ron Howard, A Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe, and how he depicted schizophrenia. And I thought for the first time in my life, dealing with what I'm dealing, man, this guy, he gets the poetic, the creative nature of all this, because let's face it, and they're bipolar in definition. I don't think I'd be here sitting with you guys if I wasn't the manic part of it. I believe that has really proved to be the jet fuel that has let me reach all of these heights of success. So, there is a positive to the negative.
That's what I was literally just about to ask. When do you look at yourself and go, I'm kind of glad I'm this way because it fuels me creatively? Or do you ever go like, I just wish I was, like, do you ever look at people who are in a happy relationship and are just content? Like, oh, we had a great time. We watched a movie, went to bed, and you're like, I wish I was that person. Like, I would love to know what that's like to be that person. Great
question. Absolutely not, because most relationships I've been subjected to are just not happy, even though they say they are. And that's the other, people always ask, well, how do you deal with personal relationships? Last time I had a serious relationship was 15 years ago. Again, Jenny Neidhart, Natty's sister, Jim Neidhart's daughter.
She's in the movie.
And that, I've always been drawn to people who either get me totally or just want to ride the wave of mania. And as you see, even in the doc, we used to have get-togethers at my friend's place. I was a nightclub DJ as well, and it's, we go 4 hours of spinning, and then we go until 5, 6 in the morning at their place just improvising, doing our own version of SNL or whatever. But looking back now, sure, if for a first glance, that's entertaining, but holy shit, there's some, what's up with, and I wasn't on anything. I wasn't on cocaine, or I was drinking. The only self-medication I did before really trying to find right treatment was I was drunk 42 days in a row, and it wasn't a good thing, and as has been broached, the only thing I have found to keep me, hanging on, as Kim Wilde would say, cannabis. And I don't know if it's what it is in THC that with my chemicals or my makeup, and this is what's so frustrating, guys, as much as I'm trying to bang the drum, we have Mariah Carey and Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, Logic, and all of these actors. Jim Norton is doing his thing here today as well. We need to raise voices, but we still don't know what it is. Is it a chemical imbalance? Is it hereditary? Is it a product of our environment? I know that it's multi-generational on my mom's side, especially when it comes to depression. But in terms of treatment, we need more money, not less. Look what's happening to our military veterans. The amount of feedback, you guys, just based on the trailer that I've received, predominantly by men, and how open they are in sharing with me their fears, their struggles. I had an 18-year-old girl from Germany email me this morning, literally saying, and it, I can break down or whatever, saying that just seeing the trailer has inspired her to get help. She was going to kill herself. So for me, it's not about being messianic or I'm Jesus. I want to help save lives that are being they're dying unnecessarily.
But how does it make you feel? Like that's an amazing impact because you do sports for a living, you do this great announcing, and then you reveal something personal, and you actually realize that people are like changed by it.
This is why I'm on this earth. Honestly, Jim, I've always wanted to perform. Buddy, you have no idea how much respect I have for stand-up comedians because to me that's always been something. Wow, I'd love to just try and see. And then the crippling, debilitating fear of bombing is it's just so. For me, it's this. I want to be an advocate. I've always looked out for the little guy. I can remember being 8, 9 years old at school. We'd have hot dog days, and 75 cents. You get your little chocolate milk and your hot dog. And there was a boy there twice in a row. He didn't participate. And this is in the 70s. And I'm like, I went and robbed change out of my dad's pocket so this kid could have part of hot dog day. And I'm not, what a great guy. But that's who I am. That's how I'm
You're
wired.
a thief.
Robin Hood, baby. But seriously, I've always loved the underdog. We all do, but I know that in many ways I am. So I wanted to show people, look what I'm doing. It's a constant struggle, but talking about it like you guys are allowing me to do and having just your support network, Sam. Jim, you're now my support network. I have so many people who are wanting good things for me. I want others to feel that because people are suffering in silence and it's costing them their lives.
When you go and you showed, it kind of surprised me in the documentary that you talk about the cannabis and how that's what helped
I'm
you
surprised they allowed it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, whether it's because more and more nowadays I hear from individuals who have various different ailments that cannabis is what helps them. But I don't hear that from organizations. Have you had any blowback, whether it's from Showtime or WWE or Bellator or any of these, any organization?
It warms the cockles of my heart that I have had nothing but unmitigated support, and I know why. It starts with Steven Espinoza and Showtime because Harris Usanovich, my best friend, who was the guy I let in and let film all of this. Wouldn't happen without him, by the way. He deserves, he spent his own money, was away from his young family for days. This was a labor of love for him because he firmly believed in the message that we were going to try to get across. But WWE, Bellator, but like I say, Steven Espinoza at first said, man, we got to protect him. Like, this is our guy. He's our voice of Showtime Boxing. And as soon as he said it, he said to himself, well, that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
We have to show it. So, and yes, we are, from what I hear, billions of dollars a year lost to mental health issues, people, not being able to work. And yet, if you have the flu, if you're undergoing chemotherapy treatment, undergoing dialysis, with all due respect, and I've lost people to every known illness known. How can you not then allow people who are unable to get out of bed because they're looking at the light fixture wondering if it can hold their weight? We without mental health, there is no health. I wish people, it's all just about the stigma of mental health, stigma of cannabis, stigma of sports entertainment, professional wrestling, call it what you will. I just want to get the conversation started. I don't care how vulnerable I am made to feel. If it can save one life, and judging by the feedback already, it's doing that, how the hell can anyone give me backlash?
Are you sexually compulsive or no?
Yes, sir. Wow, Great question. First time ever asked. Yes, sir. Wow, good. This is really, Ariel Helwani's show yesterday. I went out and I know Jim, because these are the kinds of shows I really wanted to do because it's not just about fight talk or this thing. That stuff needs to be addressed. I used to phone 900 numbers and just put the phone down, racking up the bill, not even listening because it was my way of sabotaging. My parents, they go, what the hell? $900 phone bill, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah, there is something wrong with me. But when I was a nightclub DJ, it was not good. And it was never enjoyable. It was just about trying to medicate. And there is that. And so even now, I am single, but I feel I can't be in a marriage or a relationship or bring a child into the world because at my lowest points, I would not wish what I go through under towards anyone. So, it's weird, man. That's also something I think that has to be investigated because everything's impulsive. I spend money. I spent over $1,500 buying people dinner over the last 2-3 days. I'm always that guy. I love to take care of everybody, regardless of the cost. So thankfully, Frank Shamrock, the legendary fighter who has become my best friend and manager, he takes care of my finances and helps me with my life. And I wouldn't be where I am without people like him. So I have people looking after me. Otherwise, it would be big trouble.
Yeah, it's the 900 numbers. It's funny. I remember years ago, the way to do it was you had to send in a money order because I didn't have credit cards. I sent in a money order to California, and I got sent back a list of phone numbers you can call between these hours. And I wanted to jerk off at some crazy hour. And I remember the girl on the phone went, "What? You want to talk like that at this hour?" She got so mad at me.
And the one time I called where I really wanted to talk to someone, she went, "Hello." And I said, "Hey, how's it going? This is, Mark, I think was my nom de guerre, Mark." She goes, "Not tonight, honey. I got an earache."
Oh,
I'm like, "You son of a bitch."
What? Has texting,
not tonight, I got a headache. Not tonight, I have an earache. Sorry.
Has texting gotten you in the phone? Because you got it right here all the time. You can't put it down.
Yeah, I'm a phone addict for sure. People, well, here, I'll tell you guys, and it was always made fun of. I was late to the Twitter party. I came in 2009. And guys, I have 222.1 thousand tweets that I've made.
Oh my gosh! Well,
Think
you're
about
also
that.
like
I'm very interactive,
and you're a retweeting professional.
Well, I'm the mayor of Retweet City, as you know, and it's part of my way of trolling other people on the. Hey, you guys wanted to create this wonderful thing? Well, here you go. I'll send you an avalanche of shit. But look, 222,000 tweets. So, I'm very much highly addictive personality.
Are you a numbers guy too? Like, do you keep up with stuff like that? Like, 220, okay, I gotta go to 230, and I gotta.
What's this say on my bracelet?
1111.
And that's been another, again, whether a sign, whether whatever it is. You know, there was a show that was on HBO that was canceled already, Here and Now, that actually had the 1111 phenomenon as one of its storylines. And I'm like, it's been something that's followed me around throughout my life, and I've always thought, well, it has to be something. Go online, you see everyone's conspiracy theories. For the most part, it's a positive thing, but I am, quirky in that way, and just, the memory of names and stats and what. That's why the condition has really helped my career, but the personal toll has been severe.
What do you like? Sorry, Sam. What do you like when you argue? Do you get? I tend to get vicious. And it's almost like you're arguing with a movie screen. You forget that there's a real person attached.
I get super loud, and I go to the jugular. I have like yourself, I got a very good vocabulary, but at my angriest, the vocabulary's gone, and it is very hurtful. And that's the other thing. Like, I've threatened my family's life when I was very sick. I've obviously threatened my own, but I go from being the sweetest human being. I'll never forget when I was at a nightclub DJ. I was dating the bartender, and I was so looking forward to seeing her beautiful girl. Hey, honey, this. I come in, I say, hey, honey, how's it going? I go into the DJ booth, put the records down. She comes up, starts massaging me. What the fuck are you doing? I'm like, and the funny thing is, guys, this is what really strange to me. It's almost like I I get out of my body and I see what I'm doing and I can't stop it.
It's like watching a film. It's like watching it from another room, and then you realize you've hurt a real person.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're like, oh no.
But what I'm like, a lot of times they say, I've undergone blackout moments, I guess, where people have told me that, hey, this happened, and I'm like, wow, I don't remember that, but I remember even now, 20 years later, 25 years later, what I was doing. So why did I do it? Why, you don't, and so I get why you want to keep it quiet, why you want to just stay in your little corner of the world. But when I was doing that, that's when I was looking at the ceiling saying, okay, so I've been there. I've been suicidal, and I have lost too many people to suicide. And judging by the feedback, both online, emails, and Twitter, there are people suffering right now that need to see what I'm putting out there.
It's the rush of the anger. It's that rush you get. It's like doing a fucking popper. The rush of that anger. That becomes more important than the person you're fucking hurting. Is keeping that high going.
Yes. Oh, it's chasing the drive. Like when I was starting my career at 16, out of high school, I was the promoter. Al Tomko, All Star Wrestling, was doing a charity show at my high school, and I, from the womb, was a pro wrestling fan. And at 4 or 5, I visualized I'm going to work, without knowing the term, what it meant, work for this company. I visualized being on American network television. I visualized calling the biggest fights in the world. I did visualize myself on stage telling jokes. Okay, I haven't done that yet. But it's like
I have, but shouldn't have.
No, believe me, you are amazing, my friend. And I love, just like I say, even this conversation means a lot to me, because it's cool to have someone also sharing, which you're doing. And maybe you do a lot, which I appreciate. But for me, even looking back then, they were like, holy crap, you're a natural on the stick, your energy, this and that. But when I look at the interview, because we have VHS tapes from my TV show, my life has been on camera, all of it.
Right.
And so I'm like, holy crap, man, I look like I'm on cocaine or something. But it's just me, the rush.
So the documentary is Bipolar Rock and Roller, and it's Friday at 9 p.m. on Showtime. So in it, you talk about a period that I was obviously aware of because there were a couple of spots. Showtime was one of them, and WWE was another one where you had to walk away.
Yep.
And to your surprise, both organizations called you and said, no. We're going to find a spot for you. We're going to welcome you back in. So because I'm so attached to the WWE community, I was aware that when you when you disappeared from WWE at first, people didn't know you had a breakdown. A lot of people didn't even know about the bipolar thing. And what ended up happening was there was a lot of scandals on the internet and bullying this, and other people were getting blamed for that. Did you think that was a fair thing, or were you kind of going like, this isn't true? What's being reported here?
Very tough time personally, because it took me until the age of 46, and my best friend Michael Jansen, who died at 19, who really, his death is what triggered my first meltdown that led to the diagnosis.
How did he die?
Heart attack, believe it or not. And his family, his two sisters and his mom and dad just arrived today. They're here for the premiere. I call them every year, no matter where I am, July 6th, the anniversary of his death. But to get to your point, the reason I say that, when we were 18, I'll never forget, I picked him up at his college class, and all he said was, I can't wait until you work for Vince McMahon. So that was when he was 18. It took me until I was 46 to get to WWE. Incredible feedback, amazing. You talk about euphoria, you talk about the mania, the run, working with Jerry Lawler right away. Incredible run. I quickly realized, wait a minute, as tough as this schedule is, and you know it, my man, what the sports entertainers, these athletes, 52 weeks a year, guys. It's amazing.
It's unreal.
And I'm just an announcer. So take that and add Showtime Championship Boxing, Bellator MMA, other VO. Like, I had this whole other 2 careers going on. I thought, I'm Superman, I can maintain. No, the schedule, just the stress of doing all of it was starting to take its toll. And so, yes, you can, I don't want to address anything else, because all of that is bullshit. And there were people that, of course, every working relationship you have to navigate. You're not always going to get along with everybody the way you would like to get along with your colleagues. But WWE, like you say, for all of its, the giant corporation that it is, and anything you may have heard, Paul Levesque, Triple H, Michael Cole, they called me and said, we got to try. We know the quote from Paul Levesque was, Mauro, maybe I'm wrong, but I think this business is in your DNA. I said, absolutely right. How can we make this work? And it's funny, because when they first approached me and they said, we want you to come and work with us, I said, is it for NXT? I love the underdog, the grind, so it worked out for the best, and I truly believe that this documentary, because I've heard from a lot of WWE folks, anonymously, whatever, it's hopefully going to help them as well, because all of us, we need to just release, and instead of, Jim, as we've discussed already, doing things harmful to ourselves or others, just, hey, what's the question you hear most every day? Hey, how are you? What's up? Do we really mean it? Do we actually listen to the answer? And do we think about the answer?
Do you want to hear the answer?
Exactly.
When you listen to yourself, if you're watching a tape of a fight or something, and you hear your own voice, are you like, wow, I did a good job? Or do you think, like, I stink?
Buddy, within minutes, I pick up the first mistake that I've made, and it's fuck off. It's done. And and whether it's, everyone's got our process. I hear a lot of performers, a lot of actors don't watch their work either. To me, it's releasing it, whatever it is, whether you like it or you don't, whether you like the pop culture references or the energy or you don't. To me, it's my therapy. It keeps me alive. So, no, I'm never satisfied. And honestly, even now, I got these headphones on listening. It's like people always say, man, do you always talk like that? Is that your voice? Yeah, it is. And I've always been, well, you sound like an announcer. Well, I'm an announcer. I can talk like this and maybe get some Disney work, I hope. Do a little voiceover work. No. And so I understand how everything is picked apart when we put ourselves out there. And I truly understand how this is going to be scrutinized, but this is my magnum opus in terms of what I wanted to do for humanity, and the fact that I've already hopefully saved or impacted in a positive way a few lives. That's fine. I'm willing to be a casualty for the cause.
When you were going through, I mean, when you were working everywhere that you worked before you got to WWE, and you had your career, you already had your career, right?
Yeah.
Was there before you're 46 this feeling of like I still want to get to WWE, or was there more like no, I found my niche, I'm doing what I'm here to do?
By the time I guess I hit the 40s, well, I guess before I did New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access TV, I probably still had, well, it'd be nice just to have that on my resume. But when I did New Japan and the feedback I got for that, like I've always, again, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be what I wish. I love what I do, but I don't need all the other stuff. So for me, I love that underground feel of even New Japan at the time. We're the cool kids in the corner, as it were, and I satiated my pro wrestling commentary. So by the time I did that, I was fine. So WWE, and it's funny, Michael Cole followed me on Twitter, and I'm like, is this the guy? Is this Michael Cole? So I went, and the email came shortly thereafter, and the rest, they say is history. But
Do you know who's the first guy who had an eye or an ear for you? Did somebody tell Michael Cole? Was Michael Cole just aware?
I believe that Paul Levesque, Triple H had heard he walked Floyd Mayweather to one of his fights, and he's a boxing fan. Michael Cole was actually a boxing fan, so I believe that I'd maybe been on their radar for a bit, and then when they made the move to USA Network Live, I guess they wanted to bring someone in with maybe a little bit of cachet. When I put together the sizzle reel, you'll appreciate this, Jim. I also was asked Warren Buffett every year at his shareholders meeting, Berkshire Hathaway, they do this entertainment video of him. Well, the year how many years? A couple years now. He fought Floyd Mayweather at MGM Grand. They literally got in the ring. They filmed this thing with all these celebrities talking, and I'm the voice of the fight, and I'm ad-libbing, me making my whatever comments, riffing off this thing, and Vince McMahon saw that and went, holy shit! If he can sell that, we'll get him.
Do you have a moment? You look back on and go like, "Oh God, that was the fucking worst." Like, is there a moment you look back on and broadcast that is your worst?
Yes.
What?
September 2007, I believe. Hawaii. Gina Carano, Tanya Evinger. Tanya Evinger had said on the press conference, "I'm here. I wish I could make out with Gina, but I'm here to knock her out. She's openly gay. That's fine, And at the time, it was great to see that kind of conversation going. There was a lull in the fight, and I used the quote on the air. Just say, "Hey, this provocative quote." And so I say, and Bill Goldberg, my broadcast partner, I'm not going to touch that with a 25-foot pole. And I instantly, again, trying to be creative, ad-lib, go nuts, trying to make... Even my original intention was still stupid and gauche and should never have been done. But I said, I wouldn't mind... If they're going to kiss, I wouldn't mind touching with a 25-centimeter pole, meaning I'd like to be close to see them kiss. Obviously, it became where everyone thought I was referring to... the male part of my anatomy, thank you, and I was destroyed, and I know how upset, and rightfully so, Gina and Tanya were. By the grace of God, they're both class acts, and Gina Carano is just one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met, and we were able to put that behind us, I hope. But I did lose a show. I was suspended, rightfully so. My Showtime could have lost my entire gig, but again, the understanding being what was my stupid original intention. And in a court of law, I probably would be found guilty anyway of trying to sell what I was originally trying to do. But even that was stupid. So that was the low point for me as a broadcaster.
Did you see I'm sure you've seen it, the video that WWE put out from the pinhole camera in the announce table?
Yes, I have. And even that, it's funny. Family friends who've known me forever say, what's the big deal? We know that it's like everyone just figuring this out now, but it's
so
definitely...
WWE has there's a pinhole camera in all the announcers' tables. It's really just used for communication between the back and the front, but they record everything. And so I guess they saw this and saw what Mauro was doing at the table in New Orleans. And I mean, when he's doing his commentary, he's up, he's standing, he's jumping, he's throwing his arms. Yeah, I mean, he is really emoting. And I guess they hadn't seen anything like this before, so they put out a montage of just Mauro. You can't even see the action. You
just hear my call and see it.
Mauro's physical, everything.
Mania.
And it's gone.
Yeah, it's going crazy. People, and it's funny how many people, in fact, how many haters have said, wow, it is genuine. It is, wow, I have a new respect for you, sir. And I'm like... I mean, I appreciate that, but again, there is that tinge of mania,
right?
And I believe it's okay.
The same thing.
Well, you can utilize it, right? You can tunnel it and push it through this constructive thing. It's just once the show's over is when you have to then start to deal with it. Right?
The same thing that makes you so good at that is the same thing that will make you go home and hear that Robin Williams hung himself and go, I admire his courage.
Buddy. That's amazing, man. When he died, I was because I've been who isn't? I've been a walking, talking tribute to Robin Williams. Love the guy, and in fact, got to meet his son Cody, and even that it's the Forrest Gump of broadcasting. I try to call myself sometimes, but he when he died, people right away all of a sudden, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Because it was weird that it took, like, again, a giant of the entertainment industry to take his life, knowing what he was suffering through. So that's the other reason for the doc. Here I am. I'm not dead, but I want, and I hope to God I die a peaceful, death in my sleep at 111 years old, Mr. Roberts. but see, look at why did he have to die for everyone to say, how are you? Are you okay? Are you okay? Do you know what I mean? It's we don't need to lose anymore. We've lost enough. Let's keep this conversation going like this.
And the documentary, let's promote it properly. Bipolar Rock and Roller. You're such an open guy, and you're so revealing. It's on Showtime this Friday, 9:00, and it's Mauro Ranallo on Twitter.
Yeah, and it's I'm really glad you did this, and I know that in my wife's family, she's has a family member that suffers from the same thing, and I watched this with her, and at first she goes, I don't want to see this. It's too close to home.
For sure.
But she watched the whole thing, and she it finally, even though there is a human face to it for her and for I, and it's to see the highs, the lows, to see you in these private moments is like, okay, we're starting to wrap around.
Yeah.
And this idea that, like, where some people go like, well, it's a cry for attention. It's this, it's that. Mauro's story is so great because you've got a guy that is so singularly focused on this goal. Yeah. And bipolar is so destructive to that goal that he wouldn't be. It doesn't make sense that this would be a cry for attention because all Mauro wants to do is what he's doing, and all he's got is this thing in his brain.
And don't get me wrong, that again, Andy Kaufman, another idol of mine, and even when watching it, to be honest, I'm like, I can, it's because I'm so warped. I think I can see where people go, wow, this is a pretty interesting piece of performance art, but. Why I'm sabotaging my own thought process. You guys mean I go? Yeah, I can see where people see I'm a piece of shit.
This whole thing's a work.
Exactly, it's a work. It's a work.
But it makes it harder. The attention you'd get from it does not outweigh the negative of what it does.
Sure, absolutely not. And that's why, as much as it even hurts me to the core to say, I love kids, I love people. Obviously, I want to help people, but I just can't imagine having a loved one like my child go through what I go through, because I know what is done to my parents, even my brothers, and all of my friends. Like the ripple effect, the toll it takes on those who really care is, oh man, it's gut-wrenching.
Well, everybody's got to watch this movie, Bipolar Rock and Roller, Friday, 9 p.m. Mauro, so glad you came by.
Man, this has been a thrill, guys. And Sam, always a pleasure working with you, of course. And Jim, honestly, man, big fan of all your work, and thank you for being so kind. And
it's nice to meet you as well.
And caring. I really appreciate it, Jim.